you're, the director, you should have the script laid out. You be in all those meetings, so you have the vision. I just put us live. I didn't want to go too live and take anything away from Vince. So hopefully, we get a couple HMG soldiers to come over. Yeah, man. To do it from the script would have been Man Beast, Ted McNair, Adam Revolver, and myself sitting down on multiple nights. But we taped on Thursday and we had OVW TV Wednesday, DCW Thursday. We'd have a loose idea of what we wanted to do and what was going to happen on one show and how we could flush those out. And then we just, you had a defensive coordinator, head coach, and offensive coordinator. That's pretty much what it was like. Or as Revolver would say, 3 lifeguards and 33 people drowning. Who are you going to save? So you do your best with what you can. And if you have veteran players, then usually they know what the fuck's going on as long as you keep them smartened up, to their bigger business.
Yes. Well, I guess for the chat now, fill it up over there. You guys just missed some awesome or maybe possibly boring talk. All depend how you take it about the job of the director and how to actually, use the proper camera angles and positioning on the floor for your crew and all that. But to me, this is one of those 101s front seat that I get that other people that don't understand this shit. So
it's interesting. It's always an interesting discussion and people love that kind of stuff. We've had great feedback lately on kind of some of the open improv and masterclass talk that I did with Vince or even with you and Timmy a little bit. And, Timmy pops me because, he keeps me humble because he can big league me anytime he wants to and rib me with a little video of me getting crazy where I was half doing my Vince impersonation, but I guess half the psychopath that probably really relies and I should realize I am, I guess, But I love talking that kind of stuff, man. Like that's the higher I guess discussions about the art form, whether from the production side or the director's side, which seems like every performer, all they ever really want to do is direct. And when they get to that point from a Clint Eastwood or whatever, they do magical work. Tarantino's kind of a film buff, right? Coming up from video rental house and shit like that. The guy's like a walking library, but I like to try and pattern myself after great directors like that and look at how they make it work and why. And every cut matters and telling the story. So when you miss it or you catch Moxley gigging, we got problems, man. Like we got to have a talk. We just got to understand, like, this is how you need to shoot wrestling. You obviously are missing some fundamental knowledge of how things are working in the ring because your production's not protecting them. So we just got to get on the same page and somebody just needs the proper training,
Absolutely. It's these sorts of topics that I really enjoy because they take you deeper inside of the product, inside of wrestling. You get to appreciate it on a whole new level. And I always tell people, what the conversations we're having, the topic might be wrestling, but if you look at, the broader lessons that we're learning here now, working with you for so many years and your background in theater and really getting to see, in the mind of Ted McNair, who I've worked close with for years, just like actually on shows and getting to know Baltimore a lot more, just the way you guys see things. I look at just every programs that I love. Now I start to break down and I want to know, okay, why does this character act this way? How should they interact with everybody else? Is this really a good story? Like I've got shows that I used to enjoy, and now it's like, this is flawed everywhere, man. It's terrible.
Dude, welcome to the other side. And especially if you're, not now or to be married again or girlfriend or whatever, boyfriend, if you want, to a civilian who just sees things as the normal casual viewer. And you don't want to act too smart and but I'll have reactions to things from dialogue to cuts to I was like, ugh. And my wives know now that they're like, you stop ruining shows for us. It used to be like that. Now they're kind of all like that. So if something doesn't meet the standard, they are. So I kind of poison the water for them on Hallmark movies or whatever the fuck it is. We all have our guilty pleasures, but there's so many things that I used to enjoy that I watch back with a director's or keen eye of a writer and on so many levels. I'm just like, ugh, and I could easily rip it apart. But then when something like the Bloodline at Royal Rumble happens at the end, and it's a level of a Breaking Bad or, HBO drama, I that's what I want all the time. So we're proving that we can get there, but through lack of effort, the rest of our show doesn't match that incredible writing. So why? Why isn't everything? And it's not that that all has to be in a Breaking Bad universe like that, but like the comedy can stand up to a much higher level, a Trailer Park Boys level, you know what I mean? A Chappelle Show level, but we're not getting that. We're not like, so why aren't we reaching for the highest level of whatever genre we're trying to put over,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, you want to jump into a couple of headlines here before we do this week's Dynamite?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, man.
I guess the big one just breaking before we went on the air here. Heartbreaking news here: the passing of Lanny Poffo, also known as the genius, of course, of the Poffo family, the younger brother of the Macho Man Randy Savage. I guess this news first shared, it looks like, on Twitter by old Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And now a lot of the outlets are picking up on it and sharing it. Not any details on it. 68 years young. The genius, leaping Lanny Poffo, passes away. Ben, any memories? I mean, he was one of those just tremendous, I guess, we both grew up WWF kids. There's so many. But I mean, he was one of those just maybe during the time, really underappreciated, but tremendous bit players on everything that he was involved with.
I mean, we have to all play our part in the circus, right, man? So, yeah.
Oh, very nice. Very cool.
So, yeah, rest in peace, Leaping Lenny, the genius. Talk about playing to the height of your intelligence. Very much the foundation for Damian Sandow's character, combined with Rip Rogers, and also obviously the brother of Randy Macho Man Savage, the Poffo family, second generation, wrestling family, ran IWC and knows the business from top to bottom and every carny trick there was, and a voice that you recognize every single. You can close your eyes if you're a wrestling kid from the 80s, you know that distinct voice every time. An interesting, interactive part of the show. Before Bret Hart, I think, was doing it with the sunglasses on the kids. Leaping Lenny was probably doing the Frisbees to the audience, So a really just fun way to interact and be the fun part of the show. And the big leapfrog, like he could get up for, and everybody would, that's where the leap, I think, might have come from. But, to have him as my mentor's kind of mentor, Rip coming up with the Poffo family and being friends with them both and owning
all the hours I'm sure they spent together just traveling.
I feel that obviously Rip's knowledge is mainly from that, so I have a fair amount of Poffo family knowledge and obviously my foundation, and I let him know that when that was at the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Amsterdam before they moved it from one location to Albany, where it's in the arena now. I think it's the Pepsi Arena. That whenever AEW, WWE's there, you'll see they got a lot of guys who donate stuff. So, it was great to say, hey man, I'm a Rip Rogers guy, and instantly connection. You know what I mean, and just treat him with all the respect that he deserves in the business. But as carny as they come, but at the same time, just regardless of wrestling, an incredible orator and monologist, and a guy who shows that the work can handle anything and you can approach it at the level of a Shakespearean bard. And if you want that to be your character, you absolutely can make it happen if you have the chops to.
Yeah, when we talk about these opportunities to learn and all that, really going and listen to any of his shoot interviews, Poffo had, in a very unique way, as intelligent as he is, he would explain things that, we were talking about that fans might not understand. He could talk on that level. where you could pick things up, where you can learn a lot from just sitting back and listening. He recently, in the last couple of years, he did quite a few appearances here in the Cincinnati area. So I know a lot of the fans around here had grown very close to him, affected by the news of his passing. He always, especially good with the kids, but more so with, the special needs kids. He was a huge, huge, backer of the Special Olympics. And I know that touched so many people here in this area.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I mean, that's a great thing to be able to do, especially in the later chapters in life, and giving back and being able to still entertain, because people, like I said, you hear that voice and you feel like it's 1985 again, but whether it was doing the poems, all that kind of stuff, the guy knew where his money was. It was in the entrance and before the bell ever rang. The match was secondary. It was throwing frisbees and waiting for the disc wrap, right? Like, it's very much what the Acclaim does, almost identical to the T, just with an updated everything old is new again. So
before there was Cena and the Acclaim, there was the genius.
There was the genius. There really was, bro. So
some cool comments over
major influence on a lot of performers.
Cool comments in the chat. Mike Martin, I guess, had the opportunity to work as a handler for Lanny Poffo and picked him up and took him to some shows. And he's sharing some cool experiences over in the chat there about the rides and the conversations that they had. So that's one of those things. Hey, when you have those opportunities, as Mike is sharing those memories over there, if you're ever in that position, don't geek out and ask stupid questions. Sit back and listen to these individuals and just absorb everything that you can from them. And don't be a Sean Ross Sapp, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I just tried to approach him with all the respect I could, and just let him know that I trained under Rip for a while, and I was always everything was great to hear about the Poffo family legacy, and to know that I was getting that type of education, and that came from you guys. Hope I don't stink tonight, I think is what I told. I hope I don't suck too bad.
Seen one of your dogs, the K-Dog, of course, with your relationship with Keeping It 100, recently catching a little bit of heat. I want to get your take on this thing. I guess, they are going to begin down in AAA using Marty Scurll. So, obviously getting a little bit of backlash still from Marty's fallout from the Me Too movement and all that. To that, K-Dog pretty much replies, hey, the girl was of legal age in that country. It was just 1 year less than it is here in the United States. He didn't break any laws. He wasn't charged with anything. He wasn't imprisoned. He's a good talent. K-Dog even went on to say, hey, he's a bigger star than, I think he threw out like Yuta, Action Andrade, a few names there from AEW. But again, a lot of people just think, hey, if it's not the US way, it's the highway. She's 16 at the time. They don't want any part of this thing. Catching some heat. Ben, your thoughts on the use of Scurll and K-Dog's kind of reaction to those naysayers?
Yeah, well, he's going to keep it 100. There's no doubt about that. And I think he makes an even bigger point of, like, there was no charges or anything like that. So what, you're supposed to be in prison for life, for the rest of your life, in the court of public opinion, like, so you can never earn a living again, and now you got to be humbled and go down to the bottom. Like, what are you supposed to do to reconcile and do the career that you loved and trained for and that you're great at? Like, I think that's the bigger what's Conan's calling into question, because he also came under fire for what's his name, they're bringing back Alberto Del Rio. So
okay.
Yeah, so I kind of tip my hat to Conan of giving him a spot to come back. I don't think there's a big issue with what even the charge was, to be honest with you. In the start, it was just that Me Too movement catching fire, and everyone was just running around with torches looking to set shit on fire. And I'll be honest with you, when I talked to Marty, I told him, I go, they're only going to have as much power as you give them, So for him to come back and Conan open the way for him, for Del Rio. Now, I only know them a little bit, I'm not trying to be like vouch for these guys fully by any means. They both had their time and time out. I think like the last 3-4 years of like, you don't get to earn. And if you even thought about earning, we're going to fucking come at you and show you how angry. Why are you so angry? Like now what the guy might have going on in Del Rio with his family and whatnot. And when hopefully it gets straightened out, or he doesn't do time. But then Conan also just gave Cain Velasquez, I think, a spot, or is, in AAA. And a lot of guys who are, and parents who completely understand that Cain Velasquez should walk with no anything, you know? So I think Conan is doing kind of a noble service of standing up in the face of cancel culture, even if it's controversial, to give people who have value that really haven't committed any infraction where they've been imprisoned or whatever. It's all just some cancel culture court of public opinion bullshit, you know? So he's the booker. There's value there. Controversy creates cash. And can this be the way for people to restart their careers who, as the pendulum swings backwards, can ply their craft? And do you lean into that heat and play real life heat to do it, or you just do a wrestling angle and kind of slow play it and get them back in the fold a little bit with some phony wrestling? I don't know what the answer is to that. That's probably a big conversation they're going to have, you know, because if he's going to give him the chance to perform, people are going to be watching to see if it's just some phony old wrestling, or are we going to go, you don't want me here? Well, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like that could easily be the message back to him. So I think what Conan said, not necessarily about hiring anybody. It's just about how long does this cancel culture get to dictate on somebody who really wasn't charged with anything, that you're in timeout. You know, if you're a Harvey Weinstein or a Bill Cosby's out, he's going on fucking tour.
And I guarantee those things are going to sell out.
Marty Skrull can't work a fucking match in Mexico. Come on, B. Like, you know, like that. What kind of logic is that even, dude? Oh, because Bill Cosby was on a TV show that we loved in the 80s. That's the difference.
Well, I was going to say, you know, how important, I'm glad that you mentioned Bill Cosby, because it lets us kind of broaden the picture here. If it scrolled to Crosby, anywhere in between, you know, it's also not like, obviously, you know, Bill Cosby's like quite a serious offense there. Scroll really didn't break any laws, you know, but how important is it for these individuals when they do want to try to get out there, rebuild themselves, maybe re-enlighten themselves? I mean, they are artists and entertainers. These are their stages and their canvases. Now, how important is it for someone like Skrull to have the platform of professional wrestling and that ring to kind of reinvent himself, tell his side of this thing, and paint on his canvas?
Yeah, I think it's strong, dude. Like, because somebody, he just wants to come back and wrestle. He doesn't have to be, even though he's the villain, like be like, whatever. I'm your daughter's worst nightmare. You know.
Yeah, he's not gonna be cutting any vignettes outside of proms or something like that.
You make him the victim now. Like, let him flip the track on it of being like, dude, I'm just here to wrestle. And you have somebody who's a cancel culture character be the voice of that asinine, Twitter fucking feed. And you have him saying all this shit, and you show Marty in sorrow, like, fuck, I just want to wrestle, dude, and I just want to apply my craft, and we know it's phony. You guys are going to beat me up all this fucking time, and eventually, with the right amount of conditioning, people will hate the cancel culture character and start to love Marty. Like, that's how you get these guys back on the other side. I mean, yeah, your friends pick you up, all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? We can all relate to that. Life kicks people's ass every single fucking day. And we take part in the Schadenfreude, the misery and the joy in other people's misery. That's what Schadenfreude means, if you don't know that. We live that. It's in our DNA. But at the same time, when it happens to us, we sure as fuck don't like it. But we got to rely on friends and family to pick us up. Those are great wrestling stories to tell. Like, it's all right there. But are we gonna do that, Or is it a better PR move just to go, oh, he's back in wrestling and slow play it, and then he can get his indie bookings back? Or do you want to sit under the harsh spotlight and do a vulnerable character piece that re-endears you to the crowd? If it's played to the right way, I think it can absolutely work.
It's something that could speak and maybe help society itself. Frank's Pickerel Barrel saying 20-somethings banging a 15, 16-year-old is kind of odd behavior. Come on. We're not debating that. We're just saying if it was criminal or should should it chastise somebody for their rest of their lives for a decision?
Dude, I was going to the strip clubs when I was 16, 17 years old, bro, and trying to hook up with strippers that were 22, 23. So, as we get older, we look at things with this fucking.
Now is that the double standard though? Because it's cool that Hamin at 16 is doing that. Right. But if Betty's doing it.
There were girls at the club doing the exact same thing. You know what I mean? We're young, dumb, and love is in the air. It's fucking Valentine's, right, dude? So, like, now that we are older, we look at it. It was some Leave It to Beaver 1952. Oh, I never would have been us. Dude, in 1990, go back and watch Club MTV from the Beach House in the fucking mid-90s. That's what we were doing. So I'm not trying to hear that, 4 or 5 years, dude. My wife, number one, is 8 years younger than me. I was 29 and she was 21 when I met. So, people are getting well, that's fine now. She's of age. It's all these things where we're like, fuck the government. But hey, government rule is, this double standard of it all, man. And believe me, there's plenty of 16-year-old girls out there looking to get themselves in situations where they can then play the innocent. I'm only 16, but they play the complete Kim Kardashian looking like they're 28 to get to that situation where they can then show that how immature they really are and way over their heads, So I'm not trying to sit here and justify it on either side. Everybody involved might be making a bad choice. And I'm not just talking about this situation here. I'm talking about in life in general, so I don't, all these little excuses like she's out there. I don't know how to cross the road. I'm only 16 years old. Yeah. Okay. Sure. She can't wait to open that OnlyFans, the 18th birthday day too. Sure.
I remember one time my sister was having a pool party and there's a 12-year difference between us. And I stopped over at my parents. I was using their office. It was summertime, so it was a nice day, so the window's open, and I could hear them out by the pool area and the grill area talking. And I'm like, shit. I was like, these bitches are talking about stuff I didn't even know existed till later in college, and they're 8th grade freshmen. Like, what the hell? And they didn't think anybody could hear them or anything. And it's like, damn. I got to get the hell out of here. I don't want to hear my sister and her friends talking about this shit, but it's crazy.
How you could have hooked up with, or which one of the sister's friends you could have hooked up with.
I don't know, man, but bit some AEW news before we jump into this week's Dynamite. Some big news on the horizon. Looks like some big developments coming up in 2023. First and foremost, we've got finally, they've been talking about it since the company was created, but it looks like here in the next month or so, they're going to release their video game. I know that's big news for a lot of the gamers out there. Been looking forward to it.
That's a mistake.
Why so?
Because they missed the big window. When you're going to launch video game, bro, you want to go in the last quarter. You want to have everything in place by August, all the marketing money ready to go.
But if that's not there, if it's not possible.
What's better? Hold off for another 6 months and do launch now and do soft sales and fucking have no juice and then compete with a whole new market of new games, or wait 6 months and come head to head and be the hottest game and sell the most units in the time when most are sold.
I don't know if I am going at this point here. You got to look at what you're handed here on a marketing front. I know this might be damn near impossible to do because of his son's ties with WWE, their deals there. He was just on Raw 30. He might even have a Legends deal there, but I'd play the tax season. Go get IRS to run. Hey, use your tax money to buy your return.
Yeah, I guess that's a small thing, haha, but I'm talking about
So you would hold off to the next big video game cycle.
Oh, I would have had it done, and I would have had it done by August last year.
But I'm saying right now, because let's look at the reality situation. It wasn't done. So now we do have it. We can have it here in the next couple of months. So would you hold off, or would you try spring or summertime release?
I would take this fucking controversy about it being too bloody, and I guess it's because of the girls doing the Britt Baker hardcore match. Might be
some of the footage, man. It looked like a Mortal Kombat game.
It should be. That's fine. But I would then say it's held up for the next 90 days in court on what we want to do. And that would buy me enough time to get to June, pretty much. And then I'd be like, okay, we want to have it released, but now they wanted us to make these changes, but we're not making changes. We're just going to take the adult explicit version, and I would actually release 2 versions.
I was just going to ask you, do an adult version for a premium price, and then come back on the next holiday cycle with a family-friendly version.
Oh, I'd release them both at the same time. I release the kids version and the fucking extreme version, because the kids, like, the parents might buy the one for the kid and then the kid wants the extreme one, and now you're selling 2 to one house. So you put that parental advisory sticker on that hip hop, it makes fucking teenagers want it that much more, bro. You know what I mean? Forbidden fruit. So I would play it all the way to get all my ducks in a row, and then I would go live in September with the sales of it. I would play out the controversy of too hot for TV to September, and then roll it right into October, November, Black Friday, bro. To release it now is, I think, a huge mistake marketing wise. You might have the market capture because there's no big competition or releases. You might play into WrestleMania a little bit with it, or put it into your pay-per-view. I could be wrong here, but this is just me thinking in the boardroom, because by the time September rolls around, you're not going to have a refresh, restart. And I need to see the numbers of video games that are sold. I believe the number of video games that are sold between September and December outweigh the entire rest of the year.
Absolutely. I mean, outside of the holiday market, you got to believe. I mean, that's your big gaming period as well. Is just as you see the trend with TV ratings, because as the weather gets better in the West, people got more activities, things going on. They're not going to dedicate as much time to that, and you're competing for their entertainment dollar as they're going to events outside, concerts and sporting, activities and shit like that.
Absolutely. And you don't have like all the commercials of your favorite AEW stars at home playing it for Christmas or whatever like that. You're going to miss all that marketing opportunity, bro. So as a marketing pro, that is an interesting conversation to me as well. So you guys are getting it all: directing, boardroom, Hamin, all that kind of shit.
Also, it looks like we've got they are in negotiations. This was rumored a little bit ago, but it looks like negotiations have picked back up again with Warner Brothers Discovery about getting AEW involved with a streaming platform.
Yeah, I mean, these guys got enough money. It worked for WWE, didn't it? Or do you want to do your own? Do you have enough content? I don't, maybe, but if you are going to do that, then it's for ROH. So you do have enough content in the background, but do you kill your other ROH streaming thing that you had going on? They're considering starting their own. Do you relabel something under a bigger umbrella and put ROH, AEW, and something else underneath that? You know what I mean? There's a lot of different options for structure here, but this guy's got the money and power to do that, and the model's already been done by WWE and shown that it can take their stock price from $20 to $100. So now WWE had a far greater asset value and library with WCW and ECW.
Well, then a bunch of the other territories as well that they bought up.
Right. So he's pretty much got ROH and maybe some New Japan footage and his own stuff. But for the right startup price, it might make sense.
What would you go? We got the two options here. Me personally, I think I'd rather source that out to an existing platform How would you do it, Ben? Would you look for a partner, or would you go, maybe evolve Honor Club to include everything under your umbrella, and maybe reach out to some of, some indies that are still out there available that would be looking for a spotlight?
Yeah. Is it a partner with Fight? You know what I mean? Yeah, because they already got your show on there. So there's already a partnership with it. Do you buy Fight and rebrand?
Ooh, that'd be interesting. They just buy them out, take that over. So I still think there'd be value like in an HBO Max, something like that. Just where you're adding your library.
That'd be the easiest thing to
as
do.
an addition to already hot,
yeah,
a hot menu item.
You hire fucking the kids from DDP Yoga to digitize everything, which it probably already is, and catalog it, and then you can run it however you want to.
In addition to potentially going streaming, AEW, we're used to seeing them at least once weekly. Sometimes they hit 2 shows if they go live with the Rampage, but looks like House Rules, AEW's version of the house shows. They're going to begin hitting some select markets for some select shows and doing the house shows, Ben.
Well, this is Double J, right? This is what they hired him for, to do these type of shows. So we may get some summer shows at some outside baseball field connections. We may get some conglomerate shows with independents. There's Immortal Wrestling here, and we've had a fair amount of their guys. And Syracuse is one of those kind of B cities that's a hotbed for wrestling. So's Buffalo, and you got Daniel Garcia and Pepper Parks and all those guys there, Bunny and Butcher and Blade, and a good connection there. So I think it'd probably be more like, hey, who do we have on the roster that's involved in their hometown indie that we can kind of jump on, and
that's the idea I love.
Yeah.
Because Society Review saying house shows are going to lose money. I don't necessarily think so. If you have the right structure, Ben, is because you're kind of laying out an option here where they wouldn't be complete failures.
Absolutely. You got your OVW guys, you got everybody in between who's got their own little indie, and that their clique wants to get over. And that's exactly what Cody did with Nightmare Factory. So, I'm sure Nightmare Factory will have their own show that'll be kind of half a student show, half with the roster of Dark. It's a cheap way to put on a show and get people who need reps under the brand, and build a library.
Yeah, and then you're getting a built-in show. You're helping grow the smaller end of the business.
Yeah,
and putting, and how much would it help? Even up there with like Immortal and all that. If you had not just someone, when you brought in Deep, just not someone from AEW, but you had their official stamp of approval, and you had a little bit from their marketing machine helping you.
That'd be great. And, especially if we could play out business that they don't have time to on TV. You know what I mean? Whether it's a tag match with our people to give them the shine, but the business is something they got going on. So we're not going to take a match from their TV, but we can help get it over, or do a happening that they might even show on their YouTube. It's a way to go. I got to run upstairs real quick. You got to cover for like 2 or 3 minutes.
All right. That's cool. To that point, which is something that's kind of cool. We're talking about, them lending the talents and the name value of AEW, along with some of the market behind it. Right here, last night you caught AEW Dynamite right up the street from me in Dayton, Ohio at the Nutter Center. Well, tonight, Wrestling Revolver is running a very special show. They run in the Dayton area, and he's a regular there. But, it really boosts their attendance. People will start traveling from, over an hour away to get to this local Dayton show. It's Wrestling Revolver, and Moxley's there. And obviously it's Wrestling Revolver, Sami Callihan's promotion. They bring, they use a lot of local talent there, but you get some of those flavors, some of those national known names. But obviously Mox helps pack that house. They'll have a full house tonight on a Thursday, just with that little bit of association. So it means a lot to these small promotions. And I think in that case, as long as they're not renting out the same venues or trying to run, what they would run for television, where they're not always hitting capacity, you scale that back. Maybe you partner with well-established, respected indie promotions, here in the area, Wrestling Revolver, a War Wrestling up in Lima. Hey, you can do some things with OVW, which Impact already does. They partner up quite a bit there. Outside of that as well, I think it would be really cool. You look at the demographic. We talk about all the time with AEW. It's the key demo. Where are they at in that key demo? They're dominating right here. This is the audience. These are the people that are inside the AEW bubble. They're the ones hungry for their product. Figure out where these people are going. Go to these big metropolitan areas and, to my guess, rent out some nightclubs. Get some places that are hip enough to bring them in and create that setting. You know, one of my favorites, and this was a brainchild of Russo's. Unfortunately, they didn't stick to the plan with it. Was Shotgun Saturday Night. It had a very unique, distinctive vibe from the rest of not just WWE, but pro wrestling as a whole. And when they launched that thing, and the basis of in its development, its origins, all of that, it was supposed to be hip. It was trendy. It was coming from different New York night spots all the time. It was cool. It was rawer than raw, and it was that true, real deal feel to it. Fortunately, it was a flavor of the month. After 4-6 weeks, Vince got on something else, got his balls attached to something else, and they train wrecked it, started pre-taping it before other shows, and it absolutely died out. First Pickleball saying, I used to see ECW in warehouse bars and strip clubs in Philly before they got TV and big. Well, something along the lines of those right there. I mean, that would be absolutely tremendous. I know promoting myself, I've been looking for a while. I originally, when I was approached to help out with the PWA, I had presented an idea of looking around saying, all right, everyone's running. This is family friendly. You know, you got the 10 and under for free. We've got to detail our shows towards the whole family atmosphere. Well, inside of that, you know, just here in my area, and this is spreading. There's so many indie promotions out there, so much entertainment that's kind of pitching that is their go-to. But here, there's like 9 promotions within an hour and a half. So I had pitched. I said, let's just go to the bar scene. Let's run bar wrestling. Get serious about it. Have a cutting edge. We'll be real about shit. Offer some great over-the-edge action here. Maybe something like that for AEW. Go to those places. Not that they have to go all-out ECW. They have to go ultra-violent and raunchy and all that. But go to where they know that demo's at their core audience. Those are smaller venues. They're unique settings. So these outfitters don't necessarily have to be a lose for AEW.
No, I don't think so.
I was just pitching, go to some different venues. Don't try to run, what you're running for television and all that. In addition to piggyback and working with established, well-known indies, go to some different unique venues.
Yeah, run a place that you can put 500-700 people in, and it's going to feel like thousands. Like do something intimate, whether it's a bar show or whatever it is. There's little spaces in Buffalo that NXT ran down by the they redid all the old industrial stuff and turned it into like a concert in Microbrew Parkway down there now. There's like a lot of and you fit 1,200 people. Like I bet that's where they'll run. That's where NXT ran and spots like that. I wouldn't look for any place over 1,500 people tops, because if you put 700-800 in there, it's going to look full.
Right. Also into that, get your marketing department out there, your PR crew. You dub yourself, you promote yourself as the younger, edgier promotion, the alternative to WWE. Go get involved with some major music festivals, X Games type stuff. Partner up with them and run shows at those events where you're not necessarily worried about your own gate, but you're an attraction and you're growing your audience and bubble by reaching out to people that might have turned their backs or not even be aware that you even exist.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can do a boss show and become an act, then that's the way to go for sure.
I mean, it's not too complicated, but hopefully they just don't think that they're so over.
Jericho's got all that. Jericho's got all that fucking juice.
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, hopefully that's the route they go, because it really could be a tremendous opportunity to them to grow their bubble and their audience and hopefully revenue.
I agree, man. And Double J knows the territory, so I'm sure he's got a map all fucking pinned up on the wall, and he's like, here, and here,
He was real big on those baseball stadium shows. How do you feel about those, Ben? Have you ever worked those? They're so awkward to me because there's so much room.
I've worked
especially for an indie stuff.
I've worked probably 4 of them, and I went to one that he was doing in Pennsylvania. I went and saw that one. I think it was it Scranton? Maybe Erie? I can't remember. But we went to that show, and then I'd work some for 2CW in Watertown. And sometimes at night they were awesome. During the day ones kind of is like a little lackluster, and you feel how far away you are. So it also matters if there's fans on the field, like if there's seats by the ring on the field, as opposed to the ring is 20, 30 feet away from the first row of fans. So that can make a difference in it as well.
Very,
but
very cool.
coming out of the bullpen and having to walk all the way down and shit it's a different feeling, no doubt.
Well, best of luck to AEW in all those ventures in 2023. Hey, they continue to grow. Hopefully, they get things right, because better wrestling at the top equals better wrestling for everybody.
Yeah, there's something to be said about it, but at the same time, they're going to come in for the indie promoter. You got to look at it one of two ways. Yeah, it's an opportunity to do that, and you can partner and get your guys over, and you might get your spot as a producer or whatever. Or, hey, I worked my ass off to build this fucking, this small territory I got of 8-10 cities. And the only reason they're coming in here is because they know we've got loyal fans and draw a dime. Now they're going to draw your fans' money, and wrestling fans aren't the most wealthy that there are. So if they spent money on their show, that means less money they have to spend at your next show. So some promoters will mark out and go, I get to work with Khan and these guys and book top guys at a reasonable price. Yeah, okay. You might work that way, but they're also coming in to take what you built, because if you didn't build it up to there, they wouldn't be in that city either. So a cutthroat promoter like Josh and Steve, they wouldn't be playing I work with them and like, because it'd be like, this is 2CW country, motherfucker. You come in here, you better come correct.
I was just thinking about Big Tom up in Lima. He might turn him down because he believes in the war product.
Too, yeah.
Now he's worked with Impact. He's done the ring, but he's big about that. He doesn't, and he'll tell you, I don't need those names. I'm not going to put their logo on my poster. I say, we got some cheers there. Thank you.
Shout out Double A. Thanks for the bits, bro. He's maybe one of the only ones over in Twitch right now, Double A, and I know that's where you can only cheer. So I appreciate that. Plenty of people on YouTube if you want to hop in the bin, Hamin, but if you want to hang out there, by all means. But then and I'll bury this guy too, whatever, in those 2CW family. Johnny Moose, who did Excite, and there's like this work shoot thing in upstate New York right now. I can't even believe I'm talking about how stupid this is. Where Moose is a guy who's never paid a due in his life, doesn't know how to wrestle. He's bigger than Big Tom was at his biggest. Okay. So that'll tell you like the boys don't take him seriously, but he walks around waddles around trying to be Josh. And he's really raped the corpse of 2CW in the Binghamton area. Now in New York State, you have things that are way overdone. Right. So there's Excite Wrestling School with Sean Carr, who I got a ton of respect for and worked a lot of shows with. And then there's me at UWE. You got Colin Delaney and crew in Rochester. Then you got all the boys out in Buffalo training, plus Mike Mondo down in Long Island. And I think there's another school too, bro. So like every 100 miles to 200 miles, there's a wrestling school. But Carney promoters are going to be Carney promoters. And then they start this shit of like, oh, he didn't pay his talent. And it's all this little online, bullshit stuff. So my point is that Moose and Excite will go, we worked with Cody and we worked with these guys, and see how that promoter marks out, just to be like, look who I booked and did this. Where Josh and Steve were like, you think you're going to come in here and fucking rape and pillage and take our fucking hardcores? If we're going to do anything, we'll come to your show and take over with 2CW chants. like that's what the plan really is, So there's just two sides of this coin. Those who want to hang around wrestlers and those who want to really be wrestling, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. It always gets me too, especially the promoters, and I'm not even really big about the talents doing it, but when they want to, get pictures with the people they bring in, I don't know.
I've kind of lightened up a little bit on that, because
As I said, as you showed a picture, I get maybe not so much. I mean, but the talent that are like overbearing with it. Like, but as a promoter, I just.
Vince Russo, you're live on the air with Light the Fuse. I tried not to go up against you because things were getting red hot over there in the chat room.
Ben Hockman, bro, I swear to God, I was so close to making you a part of that show because it's a lot easier for me, bro, when I have somebody to bounce it back and forth.
Yeah.
But I swear to God, I'm like, bro, if I bring Ben in, this guy ain't going to have a fighting chance.
Yeah, man. They should have brought him on. I would have talked to him live on air. I don't give a fuck.
Bro, can you imagine 10 o'clock at night, bro? You're sending me these DMs, man.
Oh, these guys are just fakers, bro. The fact that they think that's a funny character work, that they have never trained a day, that they never wrote anything for TV, that they never contributed to the business, but because they're comfortable in the locker room to talk to the guys because they think they're living in a TV show, bro, like that we're equals. Like at the end of the day, it's phony wrestling, but they've done nothing. They've paid no dues, and they act like they should have all the credibility of someone who's accomplished so much like yourself.
Bro, I swear to God, I always say, bro, like this is the one point, like, you know, throughout my career, you know, like end of story, bro. And I always say, bro, when you are in a locker room with Bill Goldberg and he's literally 1 foot from you, rocking back and forth and red in the face because he's that upset with you, then you talk to me, bro.
Right,
okay?
Right.
When you've experienced a situation like that, bro, in a locked room with a freaking madman, then you talk to me about everything you've done.
Well, he might get that opportunity if you want to lock me and him in a room together. I can make him feel exactly like that. But it was great out of nowhere. I got alerts from a lot of Hamin Media Group Russo brand members that it was going down, and we were going to go live here, and I didn't want to steal your thunder, so I delayed by about 20 minutes so you could definitely do one of the most incredible and shock factor shows we've seen in a while on Russo brand, man. It was awesome to sit there and watch.
I mean, bro, the funny thing to me is it's like, bro, like, did you really think you were gonna bait me in? So like I would have, you know, cussed you out and you would have ran back to your, you know, subscribers. Oh, look what, like, did you actually think in your wildest dreams I was ever going to allow that to happen?
Well, I mean, you better watch yourself. This guy's been trained by MMA fighters. Apparently, I've heard.
Oh God! Yeah.
No, dude. The fact that he thinks he can even outwork the guy who had to deal with the biggest workers, not just like I had to deal with one worker today. I got to deal with the whole roster of the biggest shitbags in the history of wrestling.
Right.
But no, you're going to get over on me, bro. Like the fact that he even believes that in his own mind shows the epic, like delusionment of what's going on, of the whole thing. Totally delusional.
They're unbelievable, bro. They are freaking unbelievable, man. And I don't feel the least bit sorry, bro, because it's guys like this that have totally killed the business, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, and then last night's Light the Fuse where they're catching guys AEW Dynamite, they're catching them gig in and their color and every other fucking match and no selling and finish. It was brutal, Bob, but what are you going to do? They all think they're so important, man, but hey, you made some money. It was good laughs, and I know that it'll blow up the net, so it'll be great for channel attitude any way we cut it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, bro. Bro, do me a favor. Just call me when you're done. I just want to go over some other business with you.
Will do, man.
All right, thanks a lot, Ben.
All right, later, Ben.
All right.
Later. Vince Russo, you guys, I don't know. I can't give you any more inside scoop than that on the inner workings, allegedly, of the consultants of HMG and Russo brand.
Bro, can you believe that, bro?
welcome to how it goes down, you guys. You know, just it pops me like no worries or repercussions of these people who really don't move the needle at all and don't put a dime in my pocket. They put a dime in, you guys did, in Vince's pocket today. Some great super stickers going down over there for the getting to see shit go down in the town square, the behind the scenes heat stuff that usually the public never gets to see. Sap thought he was going to get over, but instead he just reinforced of what a goof he kind of really is.
What a sorry son of a bitch. All right. Speaking of Pops, Ben. Well, yeah, Pops. I mean, that's your nickname, shit. Anyway, but Pops in the other matter. Let's see what popped or didn't pop you on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Of course, it was coming to the world live from the Nutter Center, just up the street from where I'm sitting right now in Dayton, Ohio. Again, AEW. They load up these cars, man. We had a lot advertised. We've got Hangman Page versus Mox. We've got the everything goes or anything goes all out brawl main event for the TNT title. But so much in between those two big matches sandwiched in there. So as I said here, we get things going. Hangman Page, John Moxley. Moxley brought to the ring by Yuta, and I guess this is kind of cool, you know, as he's just born down just the road in Cincinnati. His pops gets involved, bringing him to the ring. It was kind of cool to have, some recognition.
Yeah,
there
dude,
for the family.
I put that over big, dude. His dad coming down there. It's a big moment, for wrestlers, things like that. Fans really won't know. I don't think even, just getting to do the show at my dad's Woodsman show and having him in the lumberjack match with me and Hacksaw and getting lit up by him, was probably one of my greatest memories in wrestling, to be honest with you. I mean, I've had a lot of great ones, but that one to me will be one of the most special that I'll always remember when he's gone. And him coming out with his dad pretty close to their hometown, I got to believe it was a special moment for him. Now, what happens throughout the rest of this match, it all
after the feel good moment, it kind of falls apart here. Obviously, they're trying to continue building this program. They're trying to add some extra heat to the feud between these two. Typical box match, later on, even during this match, I'm looking at what's advertised before we see the gig, before it actually plays out. I'm thinking to myself, don't do the Moxley thing and bleed. We got a anything goes, no holds barred, all out. It's going to be crazy main event. Don't give shit away. And that's exactly what they do here.
Yeah, absolutely. They give it all away. And then not only that, like get caught gigging or whatever it is, but they also go completely dog shit, CZW level wrestling where nothing means nothing. He gives them a goddamn tombstone pile driver and he stands right back up. So he's in position for, right? Was that what it was? A tombstone that he knows?
He kicks out of a tombstone and then the buckshot lariat.
Yeah. So, yeah, he kicks out of a tombstone. So let's bury that quick. Then the buckshot lariat, which is a finish, his custom finish, and he kicks out, bro. Like, guess what? That's not your finish anymore. You're going to have to come up with something else because now it doesn't mean shit. I cut a whole diatribe a month and a half ago on how good Cody Deaner is and protecting the DDT and how he's not even going to tease if it's not. These guys are hitting their finishes clean after a big setup finish, falsy, and then your finish now means nothing. And then what did he win with?
And I can't remember what Mox ended up winning with.
Roll up, I believe, wasn't?
Yep. So the most basic of moves can put him down, but
yeah.
Let me
if you do 3 big falsies on power moves and win with a roll up, you suck at wrestling psychology.
Let me ask you too, as we mentioned, and people were freaking out about this kicking out of the tombstone. When you're a professional, and I actually had some words with a local wrestler about this, and this guy isn't by any means going to make it to the big time, but he has a great passion for it. He's out there hustling, he's hitting shows every weekend, but he's a huge fan of Triple H, but he's in a match himself kicking out of 2 or 3 pedigrees. I mean, if you, that should be, even if it's not yours or that person hitting you, that's not theirs, you got to respect that finisher, right? Especially if that's someone you idolize, you're going to be kicking out of the.
Because it wasn't Triple H, I can kick out of it now. That the fact that somebody gets you in a pedigree is now an established like moment of because Triple H got it over by protecting it and making it a finisher and winning with it, not kicking out and burying it, right? But now our guy's like, oh, it's just a move until I get to my move, and then that one will mean something. No, that's the absolute opposite of using ring psychology and building up. Say this with me, Rick. The threat of violence.
The threat of violence
is just as important as the violence itself.
Is just as important as the violence itself.
What's that mean? That means fucking you get him up like you're going to give him a tombstone. He fucking hooks on the waist and bends over, and then he's got you in the tombstone. Then we break it. Or you're going to get him up like you're going to tombstone him, and he kicks out the back. So we infer the violence of tombstone, but we don't hit it. In the crowd's mind, they've just not seen tombstone, but it's registered. We've checked it off the list. We've shown the struggle. So after I go out behind him off of getting out of the tombstone and wiggling out before he can get me in it, I push him off, go and give him an O'Connor roll. He gets up, kick him so he's stumbled. Then you can jump out of the ring. So when he feeds back around, then you hit your buckshot lariat, and that's the finish. You don't hit big thing, no finish. Hey, you can kill me with those things, but I'm too strong, but I'm not strong enough to kick out of you laying on me and just holding me there, bro. Like, I'm not strong enough to do that. Those things, though, those didn't faze me at all. That doesn't register at all in ring psychology of how a match should be built, dude. And these guys obviously aren't taking anybody's advice or any advice, really. And here we are with these types of lame ass finishes. And we're in the opening segment of the show, and Buddy's over there poking and twisting in his forehead to get color. And we're getting color in the main event. So guess what? Everybody who's got to follow the fucking opener, good luck. They've already seen red. They've seen the most violence they're going to see until the main event when we do it again. But we've already played that card in our hand. So now this one doesn't mean nearly as much. Big problems, bro. That shit is not cool. And it's not going to help get your numbers up.
I thought they missed a tremendous opportunity. Instead of just telling this story is about violence between these two, to get people really emotionally attached. I mean, they've continued to miss this. But again, we talked about to open. You got that heartwarming moment. It means something to Mox, I'm sure, and all that. You got his dad there. Why didn't you run a spot? Because it is about the violence between these two. They're out to hurt each other. Do a spot where, and they don't want to say you want to do it intentionally because you don't want to really vilify Hangman, but do an accident where Hangman hits Mox's dad with a chair, and Mox's dad can't remember who John is.
Actually,
that plays right back to Hangman forgetting his son's name.
That's not bad. I mean, that's pretty full circle, but I would have just hit his dad with a chair, and then Mox's dad gets color. Like he's down on the ground fucking getting color on himself, and show that too.
So, so you're bringing in the dad and son dynamic that we've started this thing.
You could do that. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. There's 1,000 options. You know what I mean? But to not use the dad in the equation is interesting too, right? And he almost did hurt him. Like Mox was blown up and sloppy on the outside, and Hangman's on the inside, and he went to go give him a clothesline, and he caught him under the jaw again. That was really nasty. So this was definitely a fight feel. But here's the stupidest shit. Not even the finish and the no cells. This is supposed to be a Cincinnati street fight, right? They're out in the crowd in the beginning. He's putting them in a goddamn figure 4. He's putting them in an Indian deathlock. Boy, I can't tell you how many times I've been out in the streets and the shit goes down, and I'm like, fuck you. And I knock a guy down, and the first thing I do is go to put him in a figure 4 Indian deathlock. Nothing says street fight like Indian deathlock. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Hey, they never see it coming.
Again, a more stupid CZW, GCW, nonsensical bullshit, bro. Save that shit for Battle of LA where nothing means nothing.
Benny mentioned that we get Mox gets his win back here. picks up the 1, 2, 3 post-match. Claudio's out. Yuta's still there. They're in between Hangman and Mox that want to get after each other here. Mox is laying down in the corner saying, give me what you got. So obviously these two want to tear into each other a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess, but I'm just going opening segment and we got color. We're dead in the water right here.
Yeah, immediately that was my thought, just thinking about what was advertised for the main event, and that kind of stole all that thunder. Ben, next up here.
And Jay Hall's got a great point here. These guys have never seen a real street fight. I think his street fights are like the Piper and fucking Gold Dust. This could have started hour 2 and gone all the way and come back around to end the show with like they start in the ring and it leaves and one guy gets in a car and there's the chase and all that kind of shit and they come back.
Mox and Brody did that at one point, remember?
Right. So like there's just seeing a fucking figure 4 in the crowd. I was just like, are you kidding me, bro?
Well, I know you were excited about this. I was popping. I was on the edge of the seat. I'm tweeting, I'm hitting social media with finally the world gets to lay their eyes on the best tag team in the world. And I'm not talking about the Acclaim. Their opponents here. Turbo and Truth, the Outrunners. I know you had to be excited for this one. Your boys getting some actual airtime, making it to the big screen here.
Yeah, dude. Big shout out to Truth Magnum, Turbo Floyd, my man Shiloh, as I know him. Just so proud of those guys, man. They reinvented themselves. Shiloh's been in this game as long as I have. I think he came a little bit after I did OVW around 2007 before he trained with Buddy Wayne, who, you've seen Nick Wayne, his son, the late great Buddy Wayne, and also trained Darby Allin. So the connection is all there. But Shiloh's been in Louisville for a lot of years, 15, 16 years, man. And he even got himself over a while ago with rapper Mike Eagle and kind of got some underground play that way in a lot of media. He's a very smart dude. He's put in all the time in wrestling and another 17-year overnight sensation, really. But the fact that they Acclaimed wrote a rap about him, shows that they want to put money on these guys. And it was a good little diss rap last night. And then they let him do the Mega Powers Mega Scissor, and you even saw Acclaim pop for that, kind of just because why? These guys are committed to the bit. Shiloh knows of what it takes to be an over-the-top character, and they've developed these outrunner characters, and they definitely come right through the camera, bro. These guys are very well trained and over-prepared for the opportunity. And I think this is just the beginning of what you're going to see from the Outrunners, dude. I'm so happy and proud of both of them. And they can really help a lot of tag teams who don't get it. You know what I mean? Like these guys have very simple stuff and bits that can easily kind of flip the light switch for teams that just want to do a bunch of moves that are meaningless. But I could see some fun stuff with them and the Best Friends. I could see. I know they worked. What was Aleister Black's group? House of Black.
House of Black.
Yeah. So these guys are great characters. They're heels, kind of comedy heels, And what can you do with them and a bunch of other great teams?
Well, I mean, they're classic throwback. Absolutely through. We were talking about pictures there. One of. Let's see, it doesn't pick it up on the damn green screen, but
there you go. Y'all, man, that was a great time working the show with those guys, and I know you kicked yourself afterwards, but we'll get them next time.
But they're the case. So if you give them an inch, they're going to shine for a mile. That's what they absolutely did here. They went out there, did the job, put the Acclaim over, set it up. They looked tremendous in that moment that they had. Obviously, champs go.
Let's be honest. The Mega Scissors and the Acclaimed rap was the best character stuff on the show.
Yeah, I think hands down there. So, and it's like I said, give them just that little bit, and they're going to shine. So I'm glad that the world got to see them on that stage. This segment is about post match. Acclaim goes over the Outrunners. Here come the Sons, the Gun Boys. They're out. I guess the Billy at this point Daddy Ass has had enough of this thing. He's going to step away from the entire situation between his team and his boys. They lay it on here, man. They tell him to go hide in a bottle of pills like he has been for the last few decades.
Yeah, dude.
That gets him fired up. Here comes Daddy Ass. He's steaming back to the ring. And he had it before, but now he's really had it. And if his boys want it, they have got it. Title match next week. And this leaves the Acclaim kind of, whoa, wait a minute, dude. We got to consult about this here.
Yeah, but then the whole chat room goes, see, he's in on it. He's going to help his own sons win the title and turn on him. So it's a little wrestling on the nose. And if he doesn't do that, then that'll be an interesting choice. But I don't know, dude. I still kind of got PTSD from last week's dud of a segment where it was supposed to be the family therapy, and then I felt bad for Billy with the mic shit in the bed. I just don't feel that these segments are, written to the height of the characters' intelligences. Like, if they are working together and you'd tell your son, say this about me, about me being in the bottom of a bottle of pills, and like they're all in on it. We fooled you. That's why I said the most terrible thing. It just feels so wrestling to me. That it's going to happen and that it's coming. To be honest with you, and just because I'm Mark's form and there were dudes that I came up with, the Outrunners stole this segment, and then after the pinfall, it kind of went downhill for me. I mean, you got the pill line in there, but aside from that, it's still not working. And what's going on right now is on Twitter, they got some weird little beef going, where it's very obviously Bowens is out of the closet, and I don't know about Max Caster's status, but they took all these promo pictures and they're very, as the kids would say, sus. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be cool, but half homoerotic hip hop pictures, I guess, is how you would fucking classify them. And then the ass boys went at them and called that out, how stupid they looked. And then they put out pictures of the ass boys on their OnlyFans. And they're like, you guys are brothers that have OnlyFans. And they're like leaning on each other, all homoerotic with bank robber masks on, like black ski masks. So it's some weird, gay jerk off porn for OnlyFans that way. So there's some very more than just ass boys and scissorings, homoerotic undertones that could be getting played out in this storyline, aside from Daddy wasn't there for me while we were growing up. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on Twitter is much more, I don't know, gay male model storyline than anything else. I don't know, bro.
We have we go backstage where Jungle Boy, Jack Perry says it was great teaming up with Hook, but he is focused on being a champion by himself now. We got some words there from Jungle Boy. We get back to the ring. This is interesting. I want to get your take on this one because there was a few things here that were kind of puzzling, but we got Kushida. He's taking on Brian Cage. Brian Cage really coming in that oversized, hyped, if you will, put over guy. They think if there's something you keep that shiny belt on him, that 6-man Ring of Honor title, that it's going to make it some sort of relevance with him. Comes out here, they tell the same story. Oh my God, how can anyone overcome this dude?
Who are belts for?
Guys that can't get over.
With what? With character.
Okay. They just can't get over shit. I mean, the way this guy looks, he shouldn't
want to get everybody
over.
That's why he needs a belt to be over, right? There's been rumors that he's had feelers out to WWE. We talked about it last week, and he's done 3 clean jobs in a row. So Bryan Daniels last week, Jungle Boy beat him clean, and now he gets beat clean here. Again, weird shit in the finish, no cells.
Which I thought was really weird is, they have this match here. I don't think anyone was expecting anything but the outcome. But, they're putting over week after week. You've got this monster of a man, this brute that should just absolutely be bulldozing through his competition. So you're putting over how much of a big win this is for Kushida, but then immediately in the next segment, you show us a recap of Bryan Danielson beating him too. So you completely just
right.
What the heck? Okay, so you're just reminding me that this guy sucks.
But there's something to be said for that. because when I see that, and this might not be, and I'm not trying to insult you, where you haven't gotten to the low down, dirty scumbag part of your wrestling career yet. Why would you show that?
Okay, like you said, though, if he's on his way out, which I wasn't completely aware of there, if he's out, then this guy does, you would think, in a wrestling mindset, he's got $1 million written on him. So let's just tarnish the hell out of it as much as
Let's get $1 million worth of bumps out of him and then fucking lower his stock price before he goes, having him to lose to everybody else. That's classic wrestling 101. That's what Vince would do to anybody before they went to WCW, right? Like, you should do business on your way out, but at the same time, like when you see a guy lose like that, and then they cut him loose, like that, to me, that says that he's going, because I'm looking at the booking pattern of like, hey, this guy's got $1 million on him, and you had him lose 3 times, and then you show the replay of him losing. That says wrestling politics to me. That doesn't say
bags are packed and one foot's already out the door. Okay, I mean that makes sense. It's just like, but in a sense of that, all right. On the flip of that, sure, that's how you're handling Brian Cage. Okay, dude, we're going to lower your value in the eyes of fans and all that, because I think you do have that. Well, a guy was just getting his ass beat over at the other place. Now we're going to buy him here. But does that hurt Kushida that you're trying to say, oh, this was impressive? Now it's just like, all right, great, man. It's like you want me to believe this guy's a playoff contender, but he just beat the team with 1 win.
I get it. Yeah, you want to, but they look at him and go, no, he's got a belt and he's jacked. So it's like the surface level of what it should be versus what our actions are to keep him strong and believable. So when somebody does beat him, it's an actual get over that actually raises somebody's stakes. Here, he's already beaten, so it doesn't make much difference.
Well, again, Kushida gets the big win. He moves on past Brian Cage there. Hold on a second here. What do we have there? Hold on a minute. Well, this piece of shit. My results cut off, so let me find something new here. So I do know after that we go to Bryan Danielson, and he is taking.
Wasn't this Thatcher? Here?
Thatcher, yeah, the debut, the submission specialist.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I like this old school shooter grinder look. You know what I mean? When he was in NXT, I liked it because everybody else looks like so much of a Randy Orton cookie cutter. You know what I mean? For so many years, like I like these old school Vern Gagne guys. I think he was with my man Biff Busick, Oni Lorcan, what have you, right? They were shooters. And he's got the old school robe on in classical music. I was with this, man, and this was a good ground wrestling match right here. This is probably my favorite match on the show. But there was a lot of more headshots on Bryan Danielson, which does not make me happy, But Bryan Danielson gets the ropes, hits German suplex, follows it with the bukkake, goes over.
In this match, I'm still trying to find somewhere that's coherent to run through this stuff. Is this where we get the MJF? Oh, no. After this match, Anderson picks up the win. We get MJF and Kushida in the back. We got the brawl happening in the back.
Right, and that everyone separates them. Pat Buck's in there, so everything's going to be fine.
Absolutely. Well, also inside of that, though, we get the announcement that from the commentary team here that we're going to have an eliminator challenge match where Kushida's going to get a shot at MJF, and if he can win that, then he will receive an AEW heavyweight championship match.
Nothing confusing there.
Eliminators. Was it kind of, let's talk about this too, real quick, is we had seen.
He's got to beat Saturn and Cronus. What the fuck is the eliminators match? Like, and even then we get an even stupider Jericho Appreciation Society promo where it's if you beat this guy from 2.0 and Daddy Magic, and then you got to beat this guy and me, or you might face me or Sammy. Like, I'm just going, bro, not good. This writing is not good at all, you know.
Yeah, you got the little gauntlet thing that they've got going inside of that promo. It's some of these promos, real quick here. We'll kind of group these things. You've got the Jericho Appreciation Society with their gauntlets. We have got this backstage here with Tashida and MJF. MJF then eventually going to real quick to Roosh and offering the suitcases full of hundreds of stacks that we see. But how did you like the interaction though with MJF and Roosh? Where MJF a little bit with the Spanish?
Yeah, he's like,
the translate thing popped me a couple times, when it.
Yeah. That's good stuff in the moment. That's high level comedy where it's not on the nose of the joke. It's on the character and how they would just interact with somebody else. Of course he's going to treat him like he's a fucking dude mowing his lawn in his mansion to some degree, but I'd probably shoot almost anybody in the face for a briefcase full of $100 bills like that. So.
Well, just not that one. As soon as he takes care of
five, he's got 5 of them.
And rips off Daniel Bryan's arm, Danielson's arm, and beats him with it. There's going to be 5 of those briefcases.
Nice, get them.
So that's a lot of stacks in there, man.
Saudis.
So obviously we're setting up that match there. That'll be the next run for Danielson is going through Roosh. But, back to the backstage brawl, setting up an eliminator match. We have Bunny throwing out an eliminator challenge against Hayter. And we cut to a backstage brawl or I guess jumping, if you will, where Paige or Saraya and Tony Storm are beating the shit out of Britt Baker.
Somebody had to. I guess like now we feel for Britt Baker after years of being a heel. There's been no real reason to show her virtuous aside from girls just being catty with each other.
I wanted to ask you about it because it seems like the only reason we're getting this is essentially it's going to be AEW originals versus those that were signed over from WWE. That's really the only ground that they're standing on, right? This is our house. We're here to protect it.
Baby girl,
because she's still acting catty as shit. She was real shitty to Ruby when she came to check on her.
Yeah. So everybody's a bitch is what it comes down to.
So it's pretty much someone just watched Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And threw it in
there's nobody that you're really behind. Maybe Ruby, but that's about it. Everybody else is just catty and has a reason to hate one another. There's nobody doing anything righteous.
Yeah, it is really confusing what they've got going on there with the ladies.
Sorry.
So we covered those segments. No worries. We also got, I'll just go through some of these backstage segments where we didn't get a whole lot. We also saw Swerve Strickland and his boys. They're talking about the Rhodes and second generation superstars. So they set up, they announced that they're going to have a match this week. Going to be interesting. They were going to be this week on Rampage. You're going to be taking on Brian Pillman Jr., also who is born and raised here in the area, working a lot of great shows. Personally, I'm going to be working with Brian on some shows in Dayton beginning next week. Looking forward to that and seeing what he, getting to work with him behind the scenes a little bit there. It is going to be pretty cool. He's really come a long way in his development, since we first saw him on AEW television. But it's going to be him and Strickland. I'm expecting. I'm pretty sure they taped that last night, so we're still going to get it in the area. So it should be a big pop there for Pillman. We'll expect to go over, but looking for a good outing for the young upstart second generation again here. We get to the TBS Championship. Jade Cargill looking for the big 5-0. She's going to keep that streak alive as she's looking to go 50 wins, undefeated in her AEW run. Her opposition this evening, the former baddie, a former ally, Red Velvet's going to be stepping into the ring against the champ here. Pretty much, I don't know what you expect out of the Jade Cargill matches. She obviously goes over here. Chat, you guys could throw it out here. Was there any belief here that this might be the upset? Is there anybody buying into this Red Velvet act? I mean, to me, it was just almost laughable looking at these two, against one another. Again, Jade's just such an incredible athlete. It's hard to find anyone's going to measure up to that stature. That's going to be that believability that they're going to be the one to dethrone, especially with Red Velvet. Anybody in the chat here, are you feeling her? Do you see a future with her, or is this about done? Her ride is done. She's done with the baddies. Now it's time to move aside. Jade's moving on. Also inside of this match, immediately I threw down in my notes, it is the first day of Black History Month. We have got two, highly touted, as they're hyping this thing up, Black female wrestlers at the top of the chain inside AEW. Again, Black History Month, two Black female performers here, stars, if you will. Jade at the pinnacle, possibly, of the division. And what do? They put over that February is Heart Research Month. No mention of the Black History Month here between these two. Hell, you could even play into what are we looking at in terms of the Super Bowl. You got a super athlete in Jade. You could easily tie that into Super Bowl, where we have got for the first time ever two starting quarterbacks of African-American descent. No mention of that, because this is the perfect time for the commentary team to put over that it is Heart Research Month, which I thought was really odd. I didn't know if it was just an oversight on there, some kind of stupid rib, what the hell they were doing, but another missed opportunity to really hype up the match. But I was saying, you got two at the, you've touted them at the top of the food chain inside the women's division, two Black females going for a championship on the first day of Black History Month. And they spend the whole opening of this match talking about Heart Research Month. No mention.
That's a miss.
You could even tie into Super Bowl as the first two Black quarterbacks starting against each other. But nope, this is the perfect time. Let's talk about Heart Research Month.
It's very strange to miss those type of things from a virtual signal that they pretty much built their company on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, dude, a major miss marketing wise of just playing the hashtag trends, even of getting that over and doing the Vince McMahon best of for tributes to all of the African Americans that you employ.
I don't even believe there was any mention of kicking off Black History Month on this show.
No, I don't think I saw anything.
And then also post match, Mike Martin pointing out a great point I had in my notes. Jade wins this match. It goes over and grabs her daughter.
Yeah,
and they show walking off with that.
He'll win with a daughter who looks like she's being abducted and doesn't want to be on camera. Okay. Very, very interesting, man. But Jade did look good, and Red Velvet didn't take any too big of risks where she was going to get hurt here. So it's always fun to watch the green girls and how they're going to put it together. But I think they delivered here. Jade looks strong. The final finish was a actual clean finish and hit 50-0. So it was a good milestone to cap off. And they definitely should have done something on Black History Month for 50-0, a milestone to put that over on commentary. Taz was popping me all night on commentary, dude.
But it's Heart Research Month. We got to make sure we get that in there. So
right.
So that that's Jay goes 50-0, still your TBS champion. So then that brings us up here, Ben, to no holds barred match for the TNT Championship. Darby Allin, Samoa Joe. Commentary putting this over all sorts of crazy ways that this is like some long running personal feud between these two.
Yeah, we did have a strange Shane Strickland with.
I touched on that where he's going to be taking on Pillman.
Okay, yeah, like because it was weird of like, hey, I don't have business with these guys anymore, and forget about Bearcat, but you Pillman out of nowhere.
Well, he tried to tie it together.
And I'm not
second generation, so I'm gonna have to take another punk out.
Right.
And he tried his best. And I'll say it's going to be interesting. Because I'm sure they taped that after last night's show.
But here's the thing. Why would you have a target if you didn't have a happening? You're just telling me why. I want a show, don't tell. I need something where they come and shake Pillman down in a very jailhouse way, and then it doesn't go that way, which leads to the match. Like not just calling them out of nowhere. There's no inciting incident that the audience hasn't seen, and we need to see that.
And I think, this kind of ties in as we're transitioning to the main event. This is where they're looking for those cheap pops. They're not going any deeper inside of their story to get people really invested to care about what's going on. But as they're trying to tell us that there was this long program between Darby and Joe, no, you put that belt on Darby because you were looking for that cheap pop in Seattle.
Yeah, sure.
Strickland's going to be taking on Brian Pillman Jr. for abruptly no reason except for your loose tied together BS here, because he's born right down the road and he wrestles weekly in Dayton.
Right.
He's on the indie scene doing weekly spots up there, so they know they're going to get a little reaction. So we got to get him in here. Let's not worry about trying to make really get an ultimate value out of this thing and make true sense of it. We'll just go with it. They're worried about the moveset, not a buy-in.
Let's go to Wright State University and play basketball with our shirts off and our belts on. I mean, it's wrestling.
Hey, you know what? I actually was hoping they were going to play some hoops,
and they should have.
I wanted some 3-on-3 and keep cutting to it.
Hey, we just happened to be at this random college gym talking shit about our opponents, and our opponents are also here at the basketball gym. Wouldn't you know? Just happened to be, bro. Like this type of shit.
I wanted some 3-on-3, dude.
Fuck, bro. And to not play basketball is a problem. To do a wrestling promo in a basketball gym and not play basketball, everybody looks fucking stupid.
Dude, you tell me that would have been great out there, man.
It would have been. It was great when MVP did it with Matt Hardy. Why not redo that?
Oh, God, I forgot about that too. Just see Matt hitting like a big 3 there at the end or something. God, you talk about a missed opportunity. Immediately when I saw it, I was like, what the hell, man? Hoop it up. I want to see that more than these matches.
Like, that's where the comedy and the slow motion shot and all that and the reaction. No, that's what those elite guys love, that waka waka Japanese comedy, fucking TGI Friday shit. Why aren't you making it? It was right there to do it. It'd only take as much time as it took them to shoot that piece of shit. They could have done something that was quality in the exact same spot.
Perfect in the chat. Another tie-in opportunity here. We got the NBA All-Star game right around the corner. The NBA's on those networks.
Yeah. It's that easy, bro. It's that easy. Oh, and then we get Darby versus Joe. Hardway color. Darby taking insane bumps, bro. Just insane.
What did you think about the Thumbtack hoodie?
Absolutely the best wardrobe malfunction versus a wrestler of 2023. It's tied right now. The judges, we haven't gotten the full results yet. If it matches the jacket from Ruby Soho shredding her arms while she got caught into it, the raccoon trap jacket. But this was right up there. Tack sweatshirt botch was pretty phenomenal.
I thought the point of it was kind of unique, but you're right, man. It was just like, oh, okay, in hindsight, what a terrible, terrible decision.
Yeah, and then we get the return of Wardlow at the end without the man bun, after a way long match. And that's kind of how we end with Wardlow wrecking shop and Joe getting out. I hate to run on you guys, but I got a bit of a issue I got to deal with. So
that's fine with it. Then that's perfect. We say, a lot of people think they're going to do some kind of story here. This was about getting back on track after we got to get a pop in Seattle.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we'll holler at you. Thanks for subscribing to channelattitude.com. I know I'm wrapping up abruptly here, but I got to roll out. So RBV, thanks for carrying the load today, pal. Appreciate you, dude. And we will see you guys exclusively SmackDown Live Self-Help Group. Who knows? We'll be around here at Light the Fuse, channelattitude.com. Yeah.